So tell us a bit about this transition from working at Sothebys to now being at Westminster Cathedral, but going to the priesthood. Tell us a bit about that journey, Father.
Well, as you know, it's been a long journey because I entered seminary when I was 48, so quite late in life. And I guess from a very young age, I think maybe sort of the seeds of a call were definitely there. I can't remember a time that I wasn't thinking of the priesthood, but I always loved art as well. So I grew up, my parents, with them normally a Sunday looked like I went to Mass, with my parents, and then in the we went for lunch, and then in the afternoon we went to auction houses in Belgium, where I grew up, sort of in Brussels, Ghent, Bruges, Antwerp. So auction houses were always part of the fabric, say, of what we were doing. And as a young boy, I remember it's fascinating to go to auction houses and museums. You can't touch anything, but in an auction house, you're meant to interact with it. So you pick up a silver candlestick, you open the drawers of a piece of furniture.
Were you just looking, or were your parents collecting as well?
Looking and occasionally buying something as well.
What kind of stuff were they into?
And sort of very classic antiques,
right?
18th century chests of drawers with two candlesticks on it, and then a clock in the middle. Sort of the very traditional things, which are now unfortunately very much out of fashion. So I always wanted to work in the auction world, and then of course, London being the centre in the world, London and New York. I thought, well, I'll go to London for a year or 2 years, see if I can get into one of the two big auction houses, Sothebys or Christie's. Then I got a job at Sothebys, and then I worked there from 1995 till 2011. And then I set up my own business, an online art valuation business, which is called Value My Stuff. And it was just at the beginning in 2011 when the art market was starting to move online, because the art market was one of the last ones to join in sort of all the online things. And I thought that by setting up my own business, not working for somebody else, that would get rid of that restlessness, that itch that I had, that somehow I felt I wasn't in the right thing. And then when I set up the business, gradually I just started feeling, I mean, even though I was always very happy, at times where I should have felt really happy, say at the end of year and looking at the end of the year company accounts, I should have said, oh, great. And I just felt a very, very profound sadness. And I think it was very much God in that moment talking like, well, Patrick, you've done this now for 20 years. Now it's time for you to give your time to me. And then when I then started talking to the vocations director and really properly discerning, really for the first time in my life, and giving it time, I suddenly felt this kind of always very peaceful feeling when I was thinking of the priesthood. And then I did feel that was very much where probably the next stage in life would be.
So what was the sort of area of art or collecting that you really had the sort of greatest passion for?
Well, my own specialty is 18th century French furniture, continental furniture, as we call it here. And so I ran the furniture department for Sothebys, for Europe. And yes, and furniture is still my main passion, because the beautiful thing about furniture is that it's not like a painter in front of the canvas, him interacting in a very sort of in solitude, basically, which is very beautiful and what makes paintings beautiful. But in furniture, the whole collegial aspect is wonderful, because to produce a piece of furniture in the 18th century, you need someone to build the carcass of the piece, someone then to put the veneers on it. Then you have to go to another craftsman to cut the marble that lies on top of it, and then another craftsman to make the bronzes to put in a piece of furniture. So it's the coming together of all these different crafts, which makes furniture so beautiful and fascinating.
Presumably, I mean, what was passing through the auction house, etc., was often kind of these very beautiful works of of Christian art. How did you find? I mean, presumably you were sort of practicing your faith all the way through.
Yes, I went to daily mass. So
Right.
Sothebys was in Bond Street, and so I used to go to Farm Street 8 o'clock mass in the morning,
Right.
During weekdays, and then I was at my desk just after.
Okay.
8:30.
So how did you find, as somebody who was looking at those works through the eyes of faith, how did you find that other people kind of interacted with them?
I guess when you have faith, through our Catholic faith, it's just like putting on spectacles. You just see things in a different way. So yes, I probably looked at things in a slightly different way than my colleagues did. But there's no sort of right or wrong way, I think, about looking at art. I think it enhances the experience when you interact, say, with a very beautiful painting of a Madonna and Child, and you are a committed Christian, then of course that painting will speak to you much more powerfully. But that's not to say that someone without faith can't equally look at that painting and see its beauty. But I would probably argue that it's not as full as an experience as the artist intended.